Could it be that we are called for such a time as this? I wonder what it means to be called, that God gives us important work to do, whether we are big or small. In God, we are called to help move the world. God's call makes us free. Let's get ready for a story about how the people of God were called through the waters to freedom, so we can all dance on the safe side of the sea.
This is a piece of the desert. We have a little piece of it in our room because there's so many stories in the Bible that share the desert. The desert is always changing and shifting. It's never the same place twice. It's always moving. The mountains are always blowing down into the valleys, and the valleys always blowing into the mountains. It's easy to lose your way in the desert because things don't ever quite look the same. By day, the sun beats down and burns your skin, but at night, it's freezing cold. The rains seldom fall in the desert, and so crops do not grow. There's not much food. The descendants of Abraham grew, and the people of God found themselves living in a part of the desert where the crops did not grow. And so there was no food, and there was no water for them to drink. At night, the children would cry in their sleep. And so the parents decided they must go somewhere that they would find food. And so they set off on a journey across the desert for Egypt. It took a very long time. They finally arrived in Egypt, and there they did find food. But in that land, there was a king called Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh trapped the people of God. They had to do everything the Pharaoh told them to do. They could only eat when the Pharaoh allowed them to eat. They could only drink when the Pharaoh allowed them to drink. And they had to do everything the Pharaoh said to do. But then there was one among them named Moses, who came forth and said to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh said, "No." Time and time again, Moses kept coming back and saying to Pharaoh, "Let my people go." And Pharaoh would say, no. And then something strange happened. Strange things began to happen, and Moses once again went before Pharaoh and said, let my people go. And Pharaoh said, no. But then something very sad. The firstborn son in all of the families of Egypt died, except for those among the people of God, for they had marked their doors with the blood of a lamb, so that the angel of death passed over them when it came close. Now even the firstborn son of the Pharaoh died. And this time, when Moses came before Pharaoh and said, let my people go, this time Pharaoh said, yes. Moses hurried back to the people and told them to get ready to leave. They had to pack very quickly and be ready. Those that prepared the bread didn't even have time for it to rise. And so they prepared the matzo, which is not like the bread that we might eat today, but it's flat, and it might even taste like this story, taste like the desert. Well, the people began to be ready to go on this journey, and they set on their way. They were worried that Pharaoh might change his mind, and they would look behind to see if they were coming, if the soldiers were coming close. Finally, the people were pushed right up against the sea. And with the sea on one edge, they could look behind and see Pharaoh's army was coming, for Pharaoh had changed his mind. Now, they weren't sure what to do, but Moses stepped forward, and Moses came so close to God, and God came so close to Moses that somehow Moses knew what God wanted him to do. Moses touched his shepherd's staff to the water, and the water opened up and exposed the dry land, and the people of God could walk through where the water had once been. They must have been surprised or afraid. So many emotions. And when all the people of God were safe on the other side of the water, but before Pharaoh's army could reach them, the waters closed once again, so that the people of God were safe. They were so overjoyed that Miriam, Moses' sister, led the dancing with song and tambourine. I wonder, what is your favorite part of this story? I wonder, what is the most important part of this story? I wonder, where are you in this story? And I wonder what we could leave out and still have all that we need.
Welcome to snacks. This is just a quick reminder to always wash your hands before you handle food and before you decide to eat. So let's wash hands together to just jog our memory on what's best for hand washing. So first thing is to always wet your hands, turn the water on, wet your hands, grab some soap, and then you want to soak up your hands and scrub all over for a good 20 seconds. And as you probably know from school or from your parents or from teachers or anybody else, that you can probably sing Happy Birthday or ABCs or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and those songs also, or Jesus Loves Me, those songs usually take about 20 seconds. So when you're done and you've sung your song or counted or set a timer and rubbed everywhere, even kind of your fingertips and between your fingers, you can rinse real well. And then what's really important is if you're out and about, like at school or out somewhere, you want to dry your hands first, keep them clean, and then turn off the knob with the towel. Now at home, this probably isn't so important, but if you're out and about where lots of people are using a bathroom, it's always good to turn off the faucet with the towel. All right, we'll get ready for a snack. Just always be sure to wash your hands before you handle food and eat. All right, bye.
You can do it to a cup. Do I need a little bit more?
Yeah, a tiny bit. That's good.
Okay, and you can pour that in. And then it says
Yeah, I
we
like this
need
how it's
1/4 cup, and we have a very small 1/4 cup, and we'll spoon into that. Hold it over the bowl. Hold it over the bowl.
Over
Thank
the
you.
bowl. Not. Yeah, I know it.
For spillage.
And usually stuff spills. So.
However, if you're lucky enough to have a puppy dog, they will probably help with any cleanup on the floor.
Yeah, unless it's bad for dogs, then don't let it.
There you go.
Do I plop it in here?
Put it in there. 2 1/4 cups sifted.
Flour.
Now we are ready for not, yeah, 1 teaspoon.
1 teaspoon of Diamond Crystal
Kosher,
salt.
but we don't have kosher salt. We do have sea salt, which we're going to pour into a mortar and pestle that we have. That's way too much. Kinsey, I need you to move a little bit.
Oh no, we're both gonna
He
do
should
taste
not be
test.
sorry. The mortar and pestle are used to make the salt finer because it's very coarse right now. My granddaughter Kinsey is going to continue to crush it.
Never done this before.
And the next ingredient we will need is some warm olive oil and then some warm water. And I'm going to take a microwave safe bowl I have, and I'm going to take the water and I'm going to heat it for about 20 seconds. That should be fine enough, Kinsey. And it says that we need 1 teaspoon, but some of that is for putting on the top of the crackers once they are cooked or right before you cook them. So we will be adding just a 1/2 teaspoon of salt to our flour.
teaspoon of salt. Is that warm?
It is.
It's steaming. I bet it's warm.
And we need how much olive oil? Half of what it says. We are halving the recipe. So not 2 tablespoons.
1 tablespoon.
Get the tablespoon, please.
Tablespoon. Alright, we're putting olive oil on it. When I put it in this bowl,
Pour it into the flour. Kind of spread it around.
it looks like yolk for some reason.
Well, because the color is white yellow.
Yep.
Now, in a large bowl, mix together all the ingredients, starting with, I'm sorry, just 3/4 cup water until everything comes together.
Hello, Campbell. Today we're going to be making a t-shirt into a tote bag.
And we don't have to sew to make this. So all you need for this activity is an old t-shirt that maybe make sure, check with your parent and make sure they don't mind you cutting it up. So we're gonna take an old t-shirt and you'll need a scissors, okay? If you have really nice fabric scissors or if your parent has those would be really helpful to use for this. And then a washable marker so you can mark where you're gonna cut. Now, pay attention to this part. If you have a shirt with a pattern that you want to be able to see on your tote bag, like on Madison's shirt, she has these really cool ice cream cones, then you're gonna need to turn your t-shirt inside out, okay? Because at the end of this craft, we're gonna flip the bag the other way and then you'll see your pattern. So see how see the tag is now visible? I've got my shirt inside out and Madison's tag is visible. The next thing you're gonna wanna do, make sure your seams, your side seams are together if your shirt has side seams, see? Good, that's perfect, Madison. Okay, so now we've got our shirt inside out. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna cut off these sleeves, okay? Madison, you've got some scissors, so I just want you to cut right along that seam and cut those sleeves off. If you need help, I can help you.
So I just cut these sleeves off?
Cut those sleeves right off. If you need help, I can help you, okay?
It's kind of hard to use grown-up scissors.
I know it is hard. If you're used to those smaller handles, it can be hard. And I can help you too if you need some help.
Now that we're done cutting off our sleeves, what do we do next, Mom?
Okay, so for the next step, we're gonna cut off the neckline of the shirt, okay? And I got some plates, okay? Or you could use a big bowl so that you have kind of a curved edge to follow. This is where you can use your washable marker.
I think it's kind of like a measuring tool, so you can measure like what type of things. So yeah,
It is like a measuring tool. Yes, absolutely. So I'm gonna do mine about here, okay? And I'm gonna follow that plate. You see, watch this.
So I'm gonna start up here and I'm gonna kind of follow my plate down and then I'm gonna come up. And see, this is gonna be, these are gonna become the handles of my tote bag. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So, yep,
I
get your
just,
neckline,
like,
come on down, perfect. Good job. Just kind of hold the, if you hold the shirt a little tight, it'll be easier to write on the shirt.
Okay.
Good. Perfect. And remember, we are coloring on, we are markering on the other side of the shirt. So we're gonna flip this out. Flip this over. Okay. Good.
There.
Excellent. So now we'll move these plates. We've got our little cut patterns. So now we're gonna use those scissors again.
And then we're gonna cut this
We're
one.
gonna cut that. And then comes the next part. It's a lot of fun. We're gonna make French.
Ooh,
All right, so
that sounds
you
fun.
might pause the video now because it'll take. All right, now that we've cut off the neckline portion of the shirt, we're gonna cut off the bottom hem. The hem is this part here where the shirt's been folded and sewn in place.
And I've been spinning the head, and now I'm on to cutting the face.
Yes, Madison moved on a little head past this step. She's already got that part ready.
I'm just so excited to see what the tote bag will look like.
I know, it's really gonna be a fun one. I think this will be a really neat craft. And you can use this bag for all sorts of stuff.
Maybe as in the snack video, you could put your snack in the tote bag.
Great idea! To take it on a picnic or something. I love it. Or maybe you could
Like
use
in
it
the
as a,
snack video.
yeah, or you could use it maybe as a lunch bag for school.
Uh-huh.
Or a grocery bag. It's always good to bring a reusable bag when you go to the store.
Yeah.
Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark off a line about, I would say about 3 to 4 fingers up from where you just cut off. So you can see here, Madison already did that on hers.
I just finished, and now I'm gonna be trying.
So I'm gonna, and you can use a ruler if you'd like. I'm just gonna kind of free draw it.
So do I cut like all the way?
Yep, cut all the way the blue line. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna draw these vertical lines. You can see she's got hers done. I'm gonna go ahead and draw mine. And these maybe 2 fingers apart, I would say. You can just eyeball it, get them as close to equal as you can. This is our pattern. These are our lines that we're gonna cut for our fringe. So we're gonna cut up each of these lines.
This shirt is very thick.
It is tricky cutting, and what might help is if you kind of, if you have a parent or someone to help, I'll hold it and then you just cut up.
And then, yeah, that makes it easier if you have a
Yeah.
parent nearby.
If you have a parent nearby to cut, it's still tricky, isn't it? Let me help
Maybe
you.
I should use those big things.
Let me kind of help you here. So I'm gonna, yeah, it is tricky, all right. Fabric scissors really help. I'm just kind of using some regular scissors. So there's my line. I'm gonna cut all the way across. So this may take you a little bit of time.
Yeah, so that's why we're going to pause the video.
Okay, so now you should have your fringe cut along the bottom of your shirt. And then the last step I forgot to mention is you need to cut up the side here, the side hem. So you have 2 pieces. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the front side of the shirt and the back side of the shirt on the fringe, and we're gonna tie a double knot. See how we do that?
It's kind of tricky.
It is tricky, and we're gonna go all the way across tying double knots. So this might take a little time.
That's why we might pause the video.
Got it? So go all the way across the shirt.
And then you poke it through.
And this is when it's nice to have nice deep fringe. You know, if you find that it's really tricky to get your first knot done, you can go back and cut up your fringe a little more. All right, so we've been busy knotting
Each one needs to be a double knot. So I take the front shirt, the bottom of the shirt, bring them together, and you can see, I noticed Madison made her fringe a little longer and it was much easier. So that's a good pointer. So you can kind of stretch your shirt too, and that might make it a little easier, and you can kind of see where there might be some loose ones. Now, if you'll notice, there's going to be little holes. See, there's a little hole in between my two knots. What you can do if you don't want those little holes is you can go back. See, this was a pretty big hole, so I'm going to do it on this one as a good example for you. You can take two sides from your knotted, just tie them together. Look at this, my fringe was not very long, but I think I can still make it work. Maybe not. Yeah, I bet I can. There we go.
And then you could have your own
there it is.
VBS jewelry kit, and then you can form this into a necklace, this into a headband, and these two things into a bracelet.
It
So that's
is
something
a
you can,
jewelry kit.
So that's something you could do with your scraps instead of throwing them away.
Yeah, that looks great. That's perfect. Okay, so then you've got that all knotted. Madison's got hers done. Now for the big reveal. You are gonna turn your bag inside out and see what we got. You ready?
Ooh, let's
Try it, Madison.
Okay.
And you've got yourself a little tote bag from your t-shirt. You could take that to the grocery store to buy your groceries. Look at that, guys.
Ooh, I'll be back.
Here's Madison. See, she had these cute little ice creams on hers. Here's hers. That would make a great little lunch bag or something. And like Madison said, if you want for snack time when you bring your fruit on a picnic, you can use these to pack your little lunch. Those turned out great, Madison. Good job. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed this craft, and we'll see you for the next one. Oh, here's an idea.
Here's an idea.
What you could do. I see you've got a little guinea pig out. Oh, little brownie. This is little brownie. You could put little brownie in a tote bag for a walk. Oh, he seems to like it.
And you
It's
can
a
take
little
him
cozy
places.
pouch. Yeah.
If it gets cold outside,
Good
you can
job,
go
Brownie.
inside.
Thanks, you guys, for tuning in, and have fun making this craft.
Say bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Hi friends, welcome to VBS 2021. We are at games right now, and I'm Miss Jenny, and you'll see me for the whole week of doing our games. And I have a helper here, my daughter Michaela. She's going to be coming into the screen here in a bit, and she'll show up for some of our videos. So today is our theme overall for VBS is called For Such a Time as This. And today we are called through the waters of freedom. So I have a game because we're going to talk about how the Jewish people were able to exit. And so wanted to get you guys kind of moving. This is our time to get up and get going. So you might not have something like this in your backyard, but it's like a balance beam. And so we walk on it and we keep our balance and we try to get from one side to the other. Well, I have a couple variations because I know everybody doesn't have that in their yard. So if you have a jump rope, if you have string, or if you have a garden hose that even better has a sprinkler on the end of it, ask an adult if you can use that. Parents set that up and make it kind of crazy for them, and if you could turn the sprinkler on so that they can cross through the waters. So we're going to try this out. Might be easier to do without your shoes. So I'm going to do it. So I'm going to try and stay balanced on this and go along with the curves. All right, Michaela, I'm going to change it up and you're going to have to do a different one. Now, if we did this on a hose that was on, it might be a little harder to stay on it because it'll be, if it's not on, it's squishy, and if it is on, it's hard to stay balanced, and especially if the water's coming at you. But just like the people of God, when they were able to leave Egypt and go, they came through, they had to part through the waters of the Red Sea and into freedom. And so this game is just to help remind us that we are free and we can stay balanced and focused when we remember to think about God and all that He has for us. Friends, we'll see you next time.
We've heard God's story about how God's people have been called to help move the world. Now, we listen to stories about others who have answered the call in their own time to help move the world.
First words and first steps. We stretch, we grow. Reaching and climbing, we wonder and play. At home and school, we stand up, we show up. In big and small ways, we move the world.
We stack blocks, we build landmarks. In 1886, courageous construction workers, many of whom were new immigrants, assembled the Statue of Liberty, an icon that continues to welcome travelers from all over the world.
We take a knee for an injured player. We kneel for social justice. In 2016, as thousands anticipated the game in the stadium and millions more watched on their televisions at home, Colin Kaepernick kneeled during the national anthem to protest how Black people are treated in the United States.
I'm Kari Lavelle, author of We Move the World, illustrated by Nabi H. Ali. And I am so excited to share this week with you. I can't wait to hear about the cool things that you're doing this week.
Thank you for joining us today and on our online Vacation Bible School journey with Peace Lutheran Church and Holy Cross Lutheran Church out of Austin, Texas, where we celebrate that we are called for such a time as this.